Before they even handed the first person their award, they were like, okay, well, when you accept this award, you're going to have to give a speech.
And ain't nobody ever told me that we gotta give a speech when we get this award.
I'm trying to think about what I want to say when I go up and get this award. So then it's my turn to go up. And while I'm walking up to get this award, I am freaking out because I have no idea what I'm going to say. And I was just like, you know what? I am just gonna see what comes out when I get up there. So I go up there, I take the mic, and I start saying something along the lines of, hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. So this video, I don't know why I never told you guys this story, but my friends came to visit me. We had a ton of fun and I told them this, and I figured, wow, I need to share this on my YouTube channel because I never shared it before and I just don't know why. This was one of the most awkward / uncomfortable nights of my life, and you will understand why after I tell you this story. The accounting department in my university was giving out a scholarship, and I think it was hosted by a management accounting society, and they were picking 2 students in the accounting department to give a scholarship to, and the scholarship was $500. And anybody who was an accounting major at my university could apply. All you had to do was submit your resume and then write a description about kind of your internship and accounting experience thus far. So that's what I did. I figured, you know what, I'm just gonna try, and the worst that could happen is that I don't get the scholarship. But if they happen to pick me, then I would get a $500 scholarship. And that money to me was everything as someone who is a college student who didn't have any income. So I applied, and a week later I got an email saying that I was one of 2 students to receive the scholarship. And I was like, and I was so excited. And the scholarship, although it was given to us by a management accounting society, they actually pushed it to 2 professors who taught classes at my university. They would collect the applications and send it to the society, and then that society would pick who they wanted to give the scholarship to, and then they would tell the 2 professors, and then the 2 professors would tell whoever got it. So if you think about it, the 2 professors at my university were kind of like the middleman between the recipients of the scholarship and then the society who was giving it out. And I got an email from one of the professors saying, congratulations, you received the scholarship. And in the email, he actually CC'd the other professor who was also kind of like the middleman. And then they put me and the other person who got the scholarship also on copy. So the other person that got the scholarship, I will give her a name. I'll call her Cassidy. Random name. We'll just call her Cassidy. Anyway, so me and Cassidy got this scholarship. And in the email, he said that both of us had to schedule an appointment to talk with the other professor regarding the logistics of the night, because we had to go to a banquet to get this scholarship. So that professor was actually going to drive us there on one of the nights. So that's what I did. He told me a time that I could come in. I went in and I met with him. At this meeting, he just told me, make sure you dress business professional, and I will be driving you and Cassidy to the banquet to receive your scholarship. He also said that since the event will end pretty late and he doesn't really see well at night, he will have either me or Cassidy drive his car back to campus. And when he told me that, I was kind of taken aback a bit. I was like,
oh, okay, so that means either me or Cassie are gonna have to drive his car back.
Fast forward to the day that we're supposed to meet up to go to this event. And I took a shower beforehand, and I was thinking about whether I wanted to wear a dress or skirt versus pants. The only dresses and skirts that I had at the time were a little bit shorter, like they hit above the knee. So I didn't think that that was professional enough for like a business professional setting, and we were told to dress business professional. And so I figured, you know what? I'm just gonna wear pants, and then I'll wear this blouse, and then I'll wear a blazer. So that is what I wore. And I also wore heels. So I meet up with the professor that's gonna be taking us there, and Cassidy also meets us there. Just a little background about Cassidy, the other girl who also received the scholarship. She was a very, very intelligent accounting student. She was the one who pretty much got all the scholarships. She was the one who got all the awards, and she was just very, very, very known in the business school, and especially within the accounting department. And I'm pretty sure most of you know someone like that, like someone who just goes above and beyond and is kind of like a teacher's pet in a way, and they're just very intelligent. They always do well in school, and it doesn't seem like that they need to try very hard. This was who Cassidy was. And I was not really that person when I was in college. I tried really hard, but accounting was never like a subject that kind of came easy to me. It was never something that I could just wing. I always had to try really hard in my accounting classes in order to get a good grade, and also I had to study really hard on the CPA exams in order to pass. So I was not at the level that Cassidy was at, but I think me receiving this scholarship with Cassidy kind of made me feel like I was good enough to kind of like be at her level. So anyways, back to the story. The three of us, we meet up, me, Cassidy, and the professor, and Cassidy is wearing a dress and a blazer and dress shoes. And in my mind, I was thinking,
darn, I should have worn a dress or a skirt.
Because I don't know, I feel like a dress or a skirt is just more feminine. So that was kind of like the first moment that night where I was feeling a little But I figured, you know what, I'm receiving the scholarship, I'm not gonna let it get to my head, whatever. So we start walking over to the car, and Cassidy and the professor are just kind of talking, and they're kind of getting along really well. I feel like I'm kind of like the third person who's just there listening, but I do chime in from time to time. And when we got to the car, Cassidy immediately goes for the passenger seat. So the professor is in the driver's seat and Cassidy is in the passenger seat, and that means that I have to go in the back. And so I felt really uncomfortable in that moment because I felt like her taking that passenger seat, she might have felt like she was kind of above me in a way, but I don't know. I just felt like that entire car ride was really awkward just because I felt like I was kind of like the little kid sitting in the back while Cassidy and the professor are sitting in the front having a conversation. The professor starts driving, and I think it's like about a 30-minute drive to the banquet. And he's driving, and Cassidy and the professor are again talking, and I'm kind of chiming in from time to time. But we get to this banquet, and there are other students there from other universities who are also receiving scholarships, like different scholarships. So when we first get there, we're kind of like networking, talking to everyone. And I remember Cassidy and one of the other people who was there were kind of wearing the same thing, like the same color dress and the same color blazer. And they were saying like, oh my gosh, we're twinsies. Anyways, me and Cassidy, we are kind of talking to everyone who's there, and they are asking us like, where are you going to work after you graduate? Because we were both about to graduate. And I'm not going to say what company Cassidy ended up working at, but she did end up going to a Big Four firm. And for me, I did not go to work in Big Four. At the time, the offer that I had was at a smaller accounting firm, and every single time I said what firm I was going to, the people were like,
oh, really? I've never heard of them before.
and I was kind of expecting it because they are on the smaller side. And every time Cassidy said whatever firm she was going to work at, people are like,
oh, that's cool.
because she was going to work at a Big Four firm that everybody knew. So that was another kind of moment of the night. Anyways, I didn't even get to the worst part yet, but they serve us dinner. We have like chicken and broccoli, and they also give us dessert. And now it's time to give out the scholarship awards. So one by one, each person is going up to get their award. And before they even handed the first person their award, they were like, okay, well, when you accept this award, you're going to have to give a speech.
And ain't nobody ever told me that we gotta give a speech when we get this award.
But these people, they're going up and they're giving these like speeches. So finally it's time for me and Cassidy to get our awards. And they called Cassidy's name first. So she goes up, she gives a pretty good speech, and then she comes back down. So then it's my turn to go up. And while I'm walking up to get this award, I am
Freaking out.
because I have no idea what I'm going to say. And I was just like, you know what? I am just gonna see what comes out when I get up there. So I go up there, I take the mic, and I start saying something along the lines of, thank you so much for this award. I really appreciate it. I think my family would really appreciate it. And then I started talking about my siblings and how old they were, and I stuttered a lot. And it was so awkward. It was probably the moment in my life where I felt like I just wanted to disappear because I just winged it. And I was not prepared for it because I was never told that we were going to have to say something when we accepted this. So then I finally finish, I give the mic back, and I start walking back to my seat. And I was like, oh, well, at least it's over. Okay, guys, so I actually just finished filming this video, and I forgot to mention that some people literally just went up there and just said, thank you so much for this award, and then sat down. But Cassidy went up there and gave a longer speech. So it would look bad on me if I also just went up there and said, thank you so much for this award, and then sat back down. Because me going right after her, I felt like I also had to give a longer speech. And if she had just gone up there and said, thank you so much for this award, I could have just gone up there and said the same thing. But no, she just had to give a longer speech. I told my parents about the fact that the professor might have me or Cassidy drive his car back to campus, and my parents were not very okay with that because they didn't really feel safe having me or Cassidy drive his car back. And so I told my dad to just come pick me up. So at the end of the night, when we finished the award ceremony, me, Cassidy, and the professor walk out, and my dad is like right there picking me up. And I did not tell the professor or Cassidy that my dad was coming and I was getting a ride back to campus another way. And so it was really, really awkward because my dad's just standing there. It's me, my dad, Cassidy, and the professor. My dad said something like,
oh, congratulations. I hope you enjoyed the night.
And he was being very, very sweet, but it was just really, really awkward because I didn't tell them I was getting a ride back some other way. And then in that moment, that's when I told them, I was like, yeah, I'm actually getting my own ride back to campus. And so Cassidy and the professor got into the car. And when they got into the car, I saw that the professor got into the driver's seat and Cassidy got into the passenger seat. The professor drove back to campus. And so, like, why did he tell us that he needed me or Cassidy to drive back? And I'm just thinking, like,
wow, I could have avoided this entire situation and not have my dad come and pick me up and just gotten a ride back with the professor because he was going to drive anyways, even though he didn't say he was going to.
I got back to campus and I'm just so relieved and glad that the night is over. And I'm just thinking, wow, this was such a stressful night. But the professor that we had to email our applications to and send our resume to was actually a professor that I was taking classes with that semester. And so I had to go back and face him. And I remember when I went back to class the next time, he was like,
oh, how did it go? Was it good?
But at least I got a $500 scholarship. So I guess that was kind of the silver lining of the entire uncomfortableness of that night. But that is the story of one of the most uncomfortable nights of my entire time that I had ever been in school. And I think the worst part of the night was that I had to go up there and give a speech to accept this award when I was never told that I had to do that. So I was not prepared at all. If I was told, I kind of would have prepared something and I would have said something a lot better, but nobody told me that I was going to have to say something. And I think for a lot of people, that is one of their worst nightmares, is having to go up in front of a crowd of people and have to give a speech and not be prepared because you were never told that you were going to have to do that. I hope you enjoyed this story. It is a night that I cringe on, but it's over. It was years ago, and I have moved on to bigger and better things. But if you've ever been through something similar, let me know in the comments down below. Also, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!